Yes, I wanted to amplify the whole issue of policy. That a lot of our governments in the region, they have policies linked to gender-based violence. They have code of conduct for schools. They have protocols for sexual harassment in universities. However, the challenge is enforcement. And one of the reasons why enforcement is a challenge is because there is a backlash to the push for gender equality. In the first 10 years of from 2000 to 2010, there was a lot of activity throughout Africa on sexual harassment policies, protocols, but now there's kind of like a backlash. So we need to address that backlash so that all stakeholders can really begin to unite together to push the agenda forward. Even the SDGs on gender equality has not really helped to increase the momentum like we should. So this is one area which is a gap. We need to discuss further, maybe in another webinar, and also to see different continents, countries, what are they doing to address this backlash.
Thank you, Changu. So policy gap and what can we do to address the backlash? We are taking one step forward, two backward. Judge, it looks like you want to add something to make your final statement.
Yes, I think my final punch is that gender-based violence rears its most ugliest hand during crisis, according to our experience here. I think what needs to go out is that it is unacceptable, it is still a crime, it should be reported, and there should be follow-up services. And even if the judicial services are remitted, priority right now should be given to gender-based violence. Whichever remitted courts are open, their priority should be gender-based violence, that they should be able to follow through. The other punchline is that now access to technology has become a way of life. You cannot file your documents unless you file them online. Children cannot access reading materials unless they have some kind of internet connectivity. What I would urge is if there are donors who can come in and extend that broadband access so that children, even in private public schools, can also access learning during this particular time of crisis, because we don't know for how long it's going to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to come in next? Megan, and maybe then Berhan after that.
Sure. As the judge has said, gender-based violence is magnified in times of crisis. I think I'd end by just complimenting that and saying, as we've discussed, it is its own crisis. Before COVID-19 swept the globe, 1 in 3 women already experienced physical or sexual violence in her lifetime. Almost half of female homicides are committed by intimate partners. So if we are all fortunate enough, if and when, to get back to our lives as they once were, out of quarantine and social distancing circumstances, the hope is that this issue has been brought to light more so than it ever has been, and we can't go back to business as usual. This has to stay as a key public health and a human rights priority. And just thank you to all of you for letting me participate. I've learned so much from my fellow speakers. Thank you all.
Thank you. So it can't be business as usual. Berhan.
Yes, so I want my last words to focus more on the offline space. So thinking about like sex workers that are currently not able to work in the space and are not able to feed their families, thinking about all of the women that are trying to access safe abortion at this time and are unable just because of everything that's happening around them, and the human rights defenders and the activists that are trying to still hold on to some of the democracy that is still left even within this COVID situation, and the governments that are over legislating, overusing this pandemic to really aggressively chip away our democracies are all the things that we should definitely think about. And it should be a call for all of us to be very vigilant at this time, because our adversaries are equally vigilant on their end. Yeah.
Thank you, Berhan. We need to be all vigilant because our adversaries are also very vigilant on on the negative things that they can do. So thank you very much, Berhan. Over to you, Declan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sheila. I think from me, it's just as co-moderator, I was pretty much quiet in the background, but doing one or two arrangements. Firstly, thank the moderator for doing a great job, main moderator, and also every speaker, Justice Koome, Berhan, Changu, and Megan, for such deep insights. There are extensive questions that have been asked that we could not answer in this session. We definitely, number one, the recording of this webinar will be available. And then the other bit is we'll do a publication, whether a blog or whatever, to address these questions and also to continue the discussion. I think my key takeaway is that COVID-19 is not the only pandemic. Sexual and gender-based violence and violence against children is actually a pandemic that COVID-19 is just revealing. So continual discussions like these, and I think it's a webinar series, so it's not the first and the last. Others will come, and other initiatives should actually come up to try and actually highlight this pandemic and find a way to stop it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't want to add anything to the wonderful summary that Declan has done, and he has pointed us towards the future, the way forward. So once again, thank you very much to the panelists and to the wonderful audience who are still with us, and those who were here before in the earlier part of the day. And hope to see you all soon. Thank you.